Tyler and Casey Helms are here. And they wanted me to say something about All Souls Day, and then Casey asked about like books that are important to me, and so I was like, I don't know if I can answer all of that on video. Obviously, she said, "Oh, I'm sure the Bible." That's a no-brainer. But one of the books that I enjoyed, I would say really an influential book, was a version of the Bible. I've mentioned this before at Mass, where the Gospels had all been put together. I was preparing, I think, for confirmation. The Gospels had all been put together, and the words of Jesus were in red, which helped me with my self-diagnosed, unmedicated ADD, so I could follow the words of Jesus. But it was kind of a curious thing now that I've studied the Scriptures. He would just take the best version of the story, and they put them together, and then they included John in there too. And it was a great way to just read the Gospel. As a kid, I would say the Baltimore Catechism. It was a formative book. And in fact, our very mission to know, love, and serve was taken, kind of lifted right from that. We're from God and made for God and made to be with Him forever in heaven by knowing, loving, and serving Him, which is our mission. And so that was a formative one. If I said in the Scriptures, I have to say the Gospels, obviously, Paul, fantastic. I would love to be able to go back and study Paul's writings. His letter to the Romans, his letter we just had to the Philippians. He addresses things that I think our church is going through, just as they did in apostolic times. The autobiography of St. Ignatius of Loyola, a great story, helped me with my vocation. Leisure reading. I love history. Always fascinated with history. For recreational reading, probably mysteries. One of the formative book would have been when I was young, watching old Sherlock Holmes movies with my dad on Sunday afternoons. I read A Study in Scarlet, and I fell in love with Sherlock Holmes. And then I was hooked. Then, of course, going to Agatha Christie. So that's kind of like recreational reading. Right now, I'm reading a book called Eager Beaver. And if you don't know how important beavers were to helping us environmentally and kind of what they can do to help restore wetlands and whatnot. I've just read The Last Castle, which is a story of Biltmore and George Vanderbilt, and kind of the story of forestry in America starting, and reading a book on Bernadette Subaru, history of the Basque, several things. I have several books going on at one time. But I've gotten, now that I'm 50, I think 7 years old, I've gotten where if I don't really like a book, if I don't like it, I'm like, forget it. Why am I wasting? I've got only so many days left, so I'll pick up something else. I've talked about this picture book of the saints, which this is not my version, but we give it out and kids use it. I can remember this as a kid, but this is actually one of my parents. I didn't realize that they had saved these. When I was little, I used to sit in church and I would have this series of little saints books. And so this is at least 50 years old. And I would sometimes sit on the kneeler in our little church that was also the hall. We had folding chairs with kneelers. And then this was to keep me busy. To think that this is 50 years old and that I kept it, it's like a relic of my childhood and my piety. And so that was a good question from Casey.